In every great Disney story, there's always a villain who lingers in the shadows, a character wrapped in sophistication, mystery, and motives we think we already understand. And then there's Captain Hook, the elegant pirate captain with unmatched wit, theatrical flair, and a grudge so deep it practically defines Neverland. In Disney's 1953 animated classic Peter Pan, he's the man we're told to boo, the scheming antagonist, the eternal enemy of childhood's free spirit. But what if we've been looking at Captain Hook the wrong way? What if he isn't simply Disney's flamboyant villain? What if he might be Disney's most misunderstood villain? Today, we're diving deep into the origins of Captain Hook, his role in J.M. Barrie's original novel, how Disney shaped him, how his voice actor and animators brought unexpected intelligence and charm to the role, and yes, how some interpretations and fan theories even frame him as the true hero of the story. We'll look at his rivalry with Peter Pan, the mystery of the Lost Boys, his presence in the Disney parks, and so much more. So sit back because we're sailing right into the heart of Neverland, where nothing is as simple as good and evil. The literary origins of a complex pirate. Captain Hook didn't begin as comic relief or a punchline. In J.M. Barrie's original writings, he's described as a refined, intellectual villain. A man educated at Eton with impeccable manners, deep insecurities, and a fear of time itself, symbolized by that ticking crocodile. He is perhaps one of literature's first tragic antagonists whose real enemy is not Peter Pan, but adulthood crashing into childhood. Bari created Hook as a contrast to Peter, the boy who never grows up, versus the man who grew up and regrets it. His intelligence, pride, polished speech, none of this was an accident. Bari intended Hook to be theatrical, dangerously charming, and brilliantly strategic. He's not just a villain, he's a commentary on maturity, fear, and the loss of innocence. When Disney adapted the story, instead of dulling Hook down, they amplified these traits, giving him sophistication, humor, fear, and authority all at once. Disney's Captain Hook, intelligent, elegant, and unpredictable. Disney's version of Captain Hook is unforgettable, voiced by the legendary Hans Conried, who also performed live action reference for the animators. Hook becomes something far more textured than a typical villain. Conrad's performance blended theatrical exaggeration with biting intelligence, helping craft a villain who is both comedic and cunning. Hook's animation was supervised by Frank Thomas, one of Walt's famous 9 old men, who poured emotion and nuance into Hook's movements. Hook's gestures, the dramatic hand sweeps, the delicate way he holds his cigarette holder, the calculated pacing across the deck, all communicate a man who is perpetually acting, always performing for his crew and even for himself. He plans, schemes, calculates, and manipulates. He's not strong like Gaston, magical like Maleficent, or chaotic like Hades. He is a thinker, and that's what makes him uniquely dangerous. The story of Peter Pan through Hook's eyes. When we retell Peter Pan, we almost always follow Peter and the darling children. the wonder, the flying, the joy, and the freedom. But through Hook's eyes, the same story becomes a nightmare. Imagine being an adult stranded in a world ruled by a magical boy who cannot die, who mocks and teases and steals children from the real world and recruits them into his eternal childhood army, the Lost Boys. To Hook, Peter Pan isn't a symbol of imagination. He is chaos personified. We see moments in the film where Hook's frustration isn't rooted in evil intent, but in exhaustion. He deals with a crew of bumbling pirates, the constant threat of a crocodile stalking him, and a powerful child who makes the rules of the island. Hook's mission to restore order or escape continuously collapses because Peter Pan won't let him leave in peace. When the darling children arrive, Hook doesn't even know who they are. To him, they're just more recruits Peter has stolen from the real world. And suddenly, the story doesn't feel so black and white. Could Hook be the hero? The Lost Boys theory. One of the most fascinating fan theories of the story and interpretations of it is one that has circulated in literary circles for decades, and it's the Lost Boys rescue theory. In Bari's own writing, Peter Pan kills without remorse. The Lost Boys routinely forget their past, and once they grow older, they disappear. Some theorists propose that Captain Hook is not kidnapping children, he's trying to save them. Hook's interactions with the darling children in the Disney film, when viewed from this angle, become almost tragic. Think about it, he never harms Wendy. He treats her politely on the ship, he offers her safety if she gives information about Peter, and he gives the Lost Boys a chance to join his crew rather than forcing them. And when the time comes to execute them, he waits, dramatically, giving Peter time to show up, as if he actually doesn't want to go through with it. If Peter is the manipulative ruler of Neverland, then Hook is the only adult trying to stand against him, the only one pushing back against the island's twisted rules. This doesn't make him innocent, of course, but it makes the story far more morally complicated. The Crocodile and the Shadow of Time. One of Hook's iconic elements is the crocodile, animated by Wolfgang Reitherman, who gives the character a constant source of fear and humor. But symbolically, the crocodile is more than comic relief. He represents time, adulthood, mortality. Peter Pan doesn't age, the Lost Boys don't age, but as we all know, Hook does. Every time the crocodile approaches, that ticking sound follows. A reminder that Hook is the only one in Neverland who cannot escape the march of time. It adds sympathy to his fear, turning him into a tragic figure who is quite literally hunted by the inevitable. And if you've made it this far into the story, thanks for watching. And of course, if you're enjoying this deep dive into Captain Hook's misunderstood legacy, consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps the channel grow and lets us keep exploring the hidden stories behind your favorite Disney characters. Now let's dive back into Neverland. Hook's relationship with his crew and Smee. Hook's dynamic with Mr. Smee, voiced by Bill Thompson, adds another layer of complexity. Smee adores Hook and never treats him as a monster. Instead, Smee sees him as a flawed but respectable leader. Hook confides in Smee, panics openly around him, and occasionally lets his guard down in ways that show he has genuine vulnerabilities. The crew follows Hook willingly. They fear him, sure, but more often they seem amused by him. They call him Captain with respect and not dread. This isn't the tyranny of Governor Ratcliffe or the cruelty of Lady Tremaine. Hook has charisma, he has style and loyalty. He even has a heart, even if it hides behind sarcasm and threats. Hook in the Disney parks, shows, and Broadway. Captain Hook has become one of Disney's most recognizable villains across nearly all media. In the Disney parks, for example, he is a frequent star of the parades, waving dramatically from floats, sword fighting with Peter, or stalking across the deck of a pirate ship. His meet and greets have always been popular, with guests loving his over the top poses and theatrical interactions. In the Phantasmic show, Hook battles Peter Pan atop the pirate ship, symbolizing their eternal struggle. And in Disney on Ice tours around the world, he's often portrayed as a comedic villain, keeping his charm intact. And on Broadway, in productions of Peter Pan, Hook is often doubled with the actor playing Mr. Darling, a theatrical tradition dating back to the earliest adaptations. This dual casting symbolizes that Hook is not just the villain, he is the embodiment of the fears and insecurities adults project onto childhood. Disney leans into all of these interpretations funny, frightening, theatrical, elegant, creating a character who can function in almost any setting. Why is Hook seen as the villain? Despite all of these layers, Hook remains a villain in popular culture. And let's be honest, there are reasons for that. He is a pirate after all, a kidnapper, and at times a manipulator. He can be cruel when cornered. His obsession with Peter Pan pushes him past reason, leading him to dark decisions. In the Disney film, he is framed as the one who disrupts the joy of Neverland. But why? Because Peter Pan's version of the story dominates the narrative. To Peter, Hook is the enemy of fun, imagination, and adventure. And because the film follows Peter's perspective, Hook becomes the antagonist by default. But if the story had followed Hook's point of view from the beginning, audiences might have seen Peter through a very different lens: impulsive, dangerous, and unpredictable. Hook is the villain because the hero says he is. The misunderstood legacy of Captain Hook. When we combine Barry's original writing, Disney's adaptation, Hans Conried's vocal brilliance, and Disney's lead animators among the Nine Old Men, created thoughtful animation, and we get a character who is far more tragic, intelligent, and sympathetic than most Disney villains. Hook isn't simply evil, he's theatrical, calculating, and charismatic. He might even be fighting for a cause he believes is just protecting children from a world where they never grow up and never return home. He is a villain shaped by fear, pride, and destiny, but also a man who can make us laugh, sometimes scare us, and even charm us. Captain Hook may very well be Disney's most misunderstood villain. From the pages of Barry's novel to Disney's animation from Broadway stages to park parades, Captain Hook remains one of the most iconic and complex characters Disney has ever created. He is both the nightmare of Neverland and its most human resident, a man caught between time and eternity, childhood and adulthood, hero and villain. But now it's your turn. What do you think? Is Captain Hook truly a villain, or do you think he might be the misunderstood hero of Peter Pan? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Consider liking if you enjoyed, and subscribe to keep up to date with future uploads. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.